See what happens. Oh,
Oh, there you
well,
go.
hello.
Well,
Welcome.
damn.
We in the
We
house.
did it.
We did it.
Oh, hey.
We're here. Welcome back to the
Mhm.
Mindful Misfit podcast.
Listen, we did it. We're back.
Yeah,
I just
girl.
had a whole we were messing around before we came on camera and before we started to record it. If you're listening to this on Anchor, which you can find us on Anchor now. We done stepped up in the world. If you're listening to this on Anchor, then you caught all of probably the best of the show.
I guarantee it's a lot of nonsense. Guarantee it's a lot of
For
nonsense.
sure.
Let's hope they didn't capture us singing.
I hope to God that's on there. I'm trying to get a contract. I'm not out here playing in these streets. I'm not playing with y'all no more. No more. What are we doing here? What I was going to say is that it feels like I wasn't even, oh, wait, we about to go live on the internet. No, that wasn't registering at all. Where do we live now? What's happening?
Excellent question.
Where have you been? Where have we been?
Because I know I don't live where I used to live anymore.
Man, can't say that that's true.
In fact, I've had some little thoughts pop into my head that were some old thought patterns the last few days. Why is it great? Girl, I asked the same question.
So these just the last few days. So,
yeah.
Okay.
Tell me about it.
Listen.
I need to know. Queen Bee.
October 29th, 2 days before Halloween, I have obligations that are very important that require my presence as my original self. Don't. It's fine. Going to the kids' school. And it's crunch time. So I am dressed up as Queen Bee. I feel like it's just as strange. Like the feeling that I get outside right now, like environmentally, energetically, all of these things is so incredibly appropriate for this time of year. I cannot almost stand it. Do you know how many things my son has seen this week?
Ooh, fun. What sorts of things?
So, first of all, he felt something touch him in the kitchen.
Oh, at the house.
Yeah, like 3 days ago.
Yeah.
And that freaked him out. I woke up to him screaming bloody murder. This is the child who just attracts everything. Like in life, bless his heart, he has probably is going to be a somewhat difficult road to hoe as far as some things are concerned. Yeah, felt like a tapping on his shoulder and then like a rubbing on his back in the kitchen. He freaked out. That's how I woke up. Blood curdling screams. And then the next morning, he was outside, like sitting on he likes to get up super early. He's the first one up in the house every single morning. And he's sitting on the back stoop, and the door is open. It's still dark. And he said that he saw what appeared to him to be Alien from Alien in the backyard. And I said, oh, and I heard this by proxy because he couldn't tell me because he was terrified. He couldn't say the words.
Yeah.
So Katie, roommate, texted me and was like, did your son tell you what he saw in the backyard? I said, no. He's like, well, the best way that he could categorize it was Alien from Alien. And I said, oh. And what's interesting is that my first instinct was not to be like, he ain't see that shit. My first instinct was to be like, oh, I'm so sorry.
So that's when you said it to me. I was like, oh my gosh, that must have been scary.
That must have been terrifying.
That's not like a gentle apparition.
No, it's not. It's a giant, terrifying bug. And the first impression that I got, listen, this is the Mindful Misfit from the Spiritualish Collective. We talk about all the things. The veil is so thin this time of year, so we're just going in. The first thing that I thought about was, oh, you saw a praying mantis in its full form.
I saw a praying mantis this morning, actually. Right? That guy's been popping up a few times.
They're out here.
And when you said alien, too, I was like, yes. Like this, when you said big bug.
Yeah.
That's exactly what I envisioned.
Yeah. And that's what I told him. I was like, oh, you probably just seen an alien, like a praying mantis, like in its full form. And he was like, you think so? I was like, I don't know. I'm just out here. don't have the answer, son. I'm just out here trying to make it like everybody else.
Yeah, and I think that, we don't need to smother it all with too much logic either.
No,
Those
and that
things, right?
more than
Because I think when I
anything.
was a kid, that's always what would happen. If I had some
Oh,
sort of
yeah.
imagination or saw something that was outside of the kinda norm, um, it was always like it wasn't real,
Right.
you
And
know?
that's a
Gave me some
last.
logic, like, "Oh, it must have been a light trick," or it
Yeah.
could have been, this science.
And I think that that's the thing. That's probably why my approach to this as a parent is to, because of what happened to me as a child, right? Same
Mhm,
thing, logic. Well, logically, it couldn't be something supernatural, or it couldn't be, no, that's not really what you were feeling. That's not
mhm.
really what you experienced. I had an experience where I'm laying on my bed and my bed just started to shake like it's an earthquake in my room. Like I had to hang onto the sides. I'm like this fucking bobblehead. And I was told, "Oh, you probably didn't that's not you didn't really experience that." And I was like, "Oh, but yes, I did. I know exactly what that felt like." So more than anything, whether he saw it or not, I want him to feel like it's a safe space for him to come and tell us, all the things. The last thing, because what happened to me was that it generated this insecurity in me where I couldn't share like these things that were very clearly happening to me,
Mhm, mhm.
whether it was a delusion or not. And I don't think that that's what it was. I couldn't share them anymore because there were shame and guilt and like embarrassment and fear and like all of these things around it. No, no, son, listen, I know mama be seeing some shit too. For real, for real. And so does Big Easy now. So, right? He
Mhm.
comes over, my man comes over and has we talk about everything. Nothing is off
Awesome.
limits. We
Yeah.
talk about everything. He's open to a lot of things. He recognizes what's happening with all of this. He questions himself sometimes and his own sanity, but it's fine. And so we were talking about really what he does is like, what am I going to do? He looks at me like a lost puppy. What am I gonna do? I'm like, shit, you
You're
chose
like
this. You chose this life.
you're like, "Yo, that's for you to figure
That's for
out."
you to figure out.
You
Listen,
you knew coming into this that this was authentic and it ain't gonna change,
it
so,
ain't no. And you know what?
like,
Probably even more so, the most authentic thing about it is that it will change every single day.
that's yeah.
Every day it's gonna change.
The thing that
So
won't
you're
change is
welcome.
that you ain't gonna be staying the same.
No, you're not gonna be staying the same. So he's like, "Oh, it's adventure time." Clearly, and
Mhm.
he's definitely the grounded masculine for sure. Logical, not to a fault, not so logical that he can't believe things. Because I asked him, I was like, "So you be seeing shit?" He's like, "What you talking about?" Said at my house, "Do you see shit?" And he's like, Actually, yeah.
Oh,
I see more things outside than I do inside."
that's interesting.
He's like, outside, all the creatures come. Listen, and he's a magician in his own right. Like, he's aware of it, but like, whereas we like dive into that and like really embellish in our gifts and really like want to develop them and understand them. He is not one to like really put a whole lot of effort into like the outer esoteric things, but he understands that he is a very powerful individual, and the way that the animals react to him is ridiculous. I've never seen anything like it. Ridiculous. Everybody, the animals and the children all come in and just act like I I'm going to say this, and it's annoying, I know, but they act like the king has arrived. He came home, the dogs bow, they like come over and they do all these things. They sit at his feet. The children come and look at him like this. I'm like, who is this dude? Think he is?
Yay.
Yeah,
I
it's
love
pretty
it.
awesome. So we're talking about the things, and he sees the things. He sees
Mhm.
them more outside than inside. We've seen foxes and armadillos, and this is when I'm with him.
Mhm.
2 foxes, an armadillo, a snake crossed our path. 4 deer ran across. We were taking a walk at night the other night. 4 deer ran across our path like out of nowhere. All the things happen. So he's very aware, and I'm telling him about what's happening with G. And he's like, "Well, we know they're special, so he probably did see something." It's that time of year.
Right?
Yeah.
And I just kinda thinking back about what you said, your approach with the kids
Yeah.
when they see the things
Yeah.
and talking about how we don't smother that with logic, right?
Mhm. Mhm.
Um, it reminds me of sort of like I'm gonna bring it all back around here in a second, y'all, just be patient with me, but it's like, so at the beginning when I mentioned about having this old thought patterns pop up, right?
Mm.
And then you asked why, and I was like, "That's a good question. Why?" What the why is truly is because that's coming up for me to recognize it so that I can then deflect it and flip it, right? But the reason those old thought patterns are so ingrained in me is because of when I was a youth,
Yeah.
and that similar to what you were talking about, where you'd have certain experiences, but maybe the adults or people supervising you would smother it with logic,
Yeah.
right? So then you start to really question like your own understanding of things. You start to question like your intuition, is this real? Like
Mhm.
whatever. And so over time, like I piled up this like thought belief process that really isn't serving me as an
Mhm.
individual person, like sort
Not
of
at all.
based off of what other people were trying to put me in, like
Right.
a box they're trying to put me in.
Right. And
So
so
yeah,
then
so
what
that shit
happens to
pops back
those
up.
gifts as a result of that?
They also get smothered.
Meow. Shut them down,
Totally.
right?
Yes,
And so
fully.
now we're coming right more into our sovereign authentic selves as like the closer we get to the core of who we are. And so all of these like falsities that we placed on ourselves in order to not be rejected from the herd and to make
Mhm.
sure that we stay a part of things, we stay connected even if it is false. Now, because we are gaining sovereignty and independence and becoming whole within ourselves and all of this other trauma and these things are disappearing, our gifts are coming forward. And they're not even, it's almost a misnomer to call them gifts because this is actually how we are.
Like, we all have
Yeah, we
them.
all have them. We are this way. It's the
Mhm.
trauma and all of the programming that's layered on top of that that smothers that. And so the last thing I want my children to experience is that, like having to rediscover their gifts at 41, 42, 43 years old and
Mhm.
like be caught off guard when the manifestation is so real you can't think about some things.
It gets a little
Yeah,
it's a little scary
it is.
sometimes where
It
I'm
is.
like,
And
"Oh."
we're talking about Elizabeth in particular. I don't I have manifestation to a degree, but I don't have it the way that you do.
And I just
It's
realized that it's something that's
wild.
happening,
Yeah.
and I think the gravity of it is, it's not overwhelming, there is gravity to it. It is like what did I say to Shay the other day? It was like like, I feel the gravity of the universal responsibility
Oh,
of
right.
what's in my head, how
Yeah.
I'm thinking, where I'm focusing, and what it is that I'm trying to create. I have, in the last couple weeks, especially months really, have really gotten, like it's not even fear, it's like, excitement. It's excitement and, a little bit of, just again, like, the
Mhm.
understanding the gravity of the responsibility,
Mhm.
like, I really have to keep my headspace clean, and I maybe why some of those old thought patterns were popping up earlier this week too, is so that I can go ahead and flush those through and
Right.
out because I was very easily after many years of practice, lots of support, lots of tools,
Mhm.
I was able to recognize it, like,
Oh,
just
nice.
when it
Nice.
first started. It wasn't
Mhm.
even one of those I was already in the emotions, and then I was like, "What am I thinking?" It was like immediately I was like, that's not where we're living today, Elizabeth." I
Mm.
was like, We don't talk to ourselves that way."
No.
I was like, "We are perfectly capable of managing all the things that we choose and want and need to in life. There is no reason to doubt that ever." Like, I've been proven otherwise multiple times.
Over
So
and over and
it
over
was
again.
nice
Yeah.
and a relief to be able to kind of recognize that and shift it off the bat. Um, and I think a lot of that again has to do with that me being hyper aware of like what the hell is in my mind right now because it is almost like drawing a picture these days when I'm in my head and then physically it's there and
Mhm.
I'm like, yo, That's awesome.
That's awesome. What's like the other side of that same coin is, right? Manifestation, understanding what it's like to be like to live in this body as a generator, right? So I
Yeah.
chose Queen Bee for several reasons. um I think I'm understanding that like my energy has the ability to not it's not even manifest, it's create like on site. Like I can make it like if I am in this space where like yes, I really want that thing to happen. It's not like I think it's a little bit different than yours. Yours feels like this shit just comes out of thin air. Whoopsh. Like you think it, whoopsh, it's there. Mine is like an energy push. Like I push my energy into the thing that I want to make, and then all of the rest of the pieces are drawn to. Damn.
Okay.
Yeah, I'm fine. Just like took my breath away. I took my own breath away. They don't want me to tell my secrets out loud. Shut me down. Like shut my throat down. All these pieces are drawn to it, and then I can create whatever the thing is. But it's
Yeah.
not manifestation like yours is like, I'm gonna think about this thing. And you remember that one day? I know you remember this day. This was deep in them pandemic days. Deep in them pandemic days. And like when we were allowed to go out again before they drew us back in. You went out and you're talking to me and you're like, girl, some dude show me his penis. And then
that's true.
right? Some dude show me his penis. And now I'm sitting at the park and there's another dude over there who looks the part. He looks like he might do the same thing. And I was like, well, guess what? Stop thinking about that. Don't bring that into your energy right now. I think there's something to it, Elizabeth. Whatever you do, whatever fear that you have right now, whatever it is that you're feeling about insecure about your safety and where that's coming from, man, that shit, you just like, it was like you were making that shit on site.
Oh, I get a little like, oh,
I know.
Thinking about it, like I want to shake it off. Oh.
And what's really kind of, I think it's fun, a benefit to us.
That was
like,
I want to just note too. That was an unsolicited penis view.
Yeah, right.
That
no.
was one of the, like a flasher thing.
Nobody asked for that.
Nah, nobody asked for that. It's so rude.
I rarely ask for that, even in the confines of my relationship.
Well, you don't. What? It's unsolicited.
Unsolicited.
It's one thing if it is solicited, and you don't have to literally just be like, okay, I'm ready to see it now.
Okay.
Gotta bring it in. Bring it back in.
Okay. Got it. Okay. I'm ready to see it now. Now, nobody does that. I mean, maybe some people do. I think some people do, like on the inside. They probably have some things about it. Don't you think?
About showing it?
Seeing it.
I mean, I think it depends on like the environment, quite frankly. And I say that, what does it depend on? Because somehow that is very offensive to me. But otherwise, like, I mean, if it was
the
just
flash?
Like, yeah,
like
for
sure.
Purposefully like positioning himself like across the way
Oh,
where I
that's
couldn't
horrible.
physically touch
Like,
him,
if
but
I
like he
had
could see me,
a
like,
nice
seeing
rock,
him, toss that bitch.
for
right?
sure. Upside the head.
I just thought, I was like, is he gonna relieve himself? He was coming by the lake.
I love that you took further interest in what was happening
I was like,
instead of
what's
like
going on?
looking
It
away.
took me a second to really capture what was happening because he had
sure.
passed by me fully clothed.
Oh,
And then like again, like
listen.
position himself over there. And I was like, is this really gonna? And then I saw him start to like unzip the trousers. I said trousers. And then I was like pissed and I grabbed my fucking coffee drink. I was like, grab my keys and my coffee. And I was like, this motherfucker here. And I walked back to my car because I was like, I was enjoying that.
Man, I think I might fight
space
him.
and
I think I might try to find some things like.
Oh man,
I'm really disconcerted by by the situation even now.
I know. You know the truth of it though, Adrian, is like what I thought I would do in that
Right,
situation and
2
then what
different
I
things.
actually did when I was in the situation were completely different because
Yeah.
I thought and I still think like if somebody did that, I would call them out, I'd holler, I'd be like, "What are you doing?" I'd, throw a rock at them if I were
Sure.
close enough.
Sure.
But ultimately when I was there, it just like the processing took so long for me to figure out that this fool was actually going to do that like to me. Thanks, bro. And then by the time it was almost happening where I was like, "I don't wanna see this one already
I don't
already
want it. This is one I'll
good,"
pass.
then it was like,
Swipe
I was like,
right.
"Oh, snap," and I just walked away.
Oh, yeah, just
Yeah,
walk away. I
and I was like,
There's
"I
a
really shoulda
special
went and
place
took him
for
out."
there's a special place for people who expose themselves in that way.
Mhm.
Ain't nobody trying to see all that.
And again,
Man,
I
I'm
was gonna
sure
say,
that's
like,
part
in
of the
the
problem,
environment, but
right?
also, like, it doesn't have to be inside behind closed doors, but it's the unsolicited part.
Yeah.
That's the part that's, like,
Man,
it's just
there
unnecessary.
was a time on my Facebook when it was, like, running rampant. I was getting all ki
The
I feel like we
pics.
talked about this already. Yeah, they were coming in my DMs like it's like ridiculous, like it was, they used it as a hello.
Y'all, who told them that that was what we want?
I think
Have you
it
ever actually met a woman? I mean, I'm sure they're out there. There's no judgment. I mean, you do what you want, enjoy what you want. But in general, like the women that I know in general, like we can even be huge fans of the penis, but like nobody wants a dick pic.
Nobody's asking for that, like you said, unsolicited or
Yeah.
like, I mean, you know what though? They're probably out.
Who told them
They
that? Do
out
you
there.
think they told each
No,
other to do
no,
that?
I don't know
The
where that
ladies
came
maybe
from.
did?
I think they are maybe encouraged to do that by
Probably
somebody, and
so.
then they just took it and ran with it. And then it's like used to be able to flash people. Like what happened to you? It's like modern day flashing.
Oh, good point.
That's what's happening. This is what the internet brings
It
us.
is.
You're not trying to send anybody
Oh
like
my
take a pic with
gosh.
a Polaroid and pop it in the mail and send it
Shake it like a Polaroid
1955, you know?
picture. Put
No,
some
now you get like that
postage.
instant instant reaction. That's what the internet
Oh my
brings.
goodness.
Yeah.
That's wild.
It's wild out here. What
And hey,
else?
hey, I
Uh,
bet those people that do those things, like flashing,
mhm.
the unsolicited things,
Mhm.
I bet their parents smothered their imagination with logic.
Like huge, probably. Yeah,
Guaranteed.
guaranteed. That's what they have a problem. They can't relate to people and they need somebody to take their pics um for dating apps.
Man, I think we need to have a talk on how they're starting their day. I think there need to be some adjustments in their routine.
Yeah, I know. I know. Have you seen that though? Have you seen what I'm talking about?
No, thankfully.
Social media photo shoots for dating apps.
Oh, I've definitely seen people
What do
have
you
photo
think about
shoots
that?
for dating apps, but like fully clothed.
For sure. Yeah,
Yeah,
we're
yeah, yeah.
definitely segued to clothing. We went from naked to
So,
clothing.
okay, cool. I just wanna make sure we weren't
Yeah.
still naked.
No. Got my
So,
clothes on.
honestly, what I think about that, okay, so this is coming from me who I'm not, like, in circulation and out there,
Sure.
right?
Sure.
So for me, how honest can you be when you've hired someone and you've put on and you look your greatest
And
and
you
you got
pay
the
you
best
right?
outfit, you got a
Yeah.
photographer
Yeah.
to
Yeah.
capture it, so the
Yeah.
lighting is fabulous.
Yeah.
That's not reality, y'all.
No, it's not.
It's not reality at all.
No. Don't do that.
I mean, it's cute, use them
I mean,
for things, like,
entrepreneur,
get
I'm not trying to
pictures of yourself.
discourage. Yeah, get pictures of yourself for sure. But if you're really looking for something that's genuine in regards to a relationship and a connection to another person, having something that's fabricated is probably the furthest, you know, good start that you could get.
Definitely. This is why I'm a in the flesh type. I like a
Absolutely.
eyeball to eyeball, like, interaction with encounter, collision, whatever, because there's also I mean, I can see, a broad or general idea of what you're into,
Yeah.
through your social media, news feed, or whatever.
Sure.
But, I mean, until I actually can exchange the energy with you or have, like, words exchanged in your space, um, that's where I feel more connected. Like,
So
that's where I think it's because I can see
you
through.
can see through all the other things.
Yeah, whereas,
Yeah.
like, when it's presented to me, I'm
Sure.
like, "Oh, this is
This looks
pretty
nice. I
package. I
like
like
it.
pretty
Oh,
packages. Oh my
girl.
gosh, give me the pack. I love it. I'm taking it. I love it." And then but for me, when I'm with a person, I can
Mhm.
see, I'm like, "Are you a person of integrity?" I'll know
Sure.
probably within 5 minutes.
Sure.
Yeah.
Easy. If that.
Yeah.
Ugh.
If that, yeah.
Man, been a lot of tests this year. What's
So
really
many.
what's really interesting about that is, believe it or not, Big Easy and I met on Hinge.
Okay, yeah.
Did
I
you
think I
know that?
remember
Do you
that. Yeah,
remember
yeah,
that?
yeah. Now what was your picture looking like?
I mean, my picture was same as they are on social media,
Yeah.
exactly the same. And we all know that I pushed the envelope a little bit, or at least I used to before I got all wifed up. So it was the same. But what the change that I made, so I had dabbled on and off with having, like, I had Bumble, fitting.
And then
I had Bumble for a minute.
it's fitting for the
I
bumblebee.
had Hinge for a minute. Early on when I was very first newly single, I had Tinder, and I figured out what was happening with that racket real
That's
quick.
the full, like, straight up, like, hookup
Yeah, for
site,
sure.
right?
That's that one.
Okay.
Yeah. And then I transitioned to Bumble, and Bumble is the one where you the women pick.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I can't remember exact setup, but it's something about the women pick. And then Hinge is supposed to be for those who are ready to delete this app, ready to get into a serious relationship.
Oh, I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
And so what I had done up until after being single for like 4 years and like meeting people and like, we listen, it's a fucking saga.
Adventures.
Adventures, doing the things, right?
Lessons.
How you meet the people and how that all happens. And then what would happen with dating things is that I would put it on my phone and like use it to soothe myself. I don't like him. I don't like
Oh,
him. I don't like
yeah.
him. Okay. Yep. He thinks I'm cute. He thinks I'm cute. Swipe left, swipe right, swipe left, swipe right.
Mhm.
Use it like as a boost. Like, I'm just being completely honest. Use it
I
as a
appreciate that because
boost.
I feel
Yeah.
like they're keep going.
Yeah. Right.
Mhm.
And so I'd look at my whatever the damn
What you seeing, girl?
I'm not seeing that's what I don't
Oh,
have.
I got you.
Yeah.
Which is interesting when she doesn't have words.
Man.
It is a thing because she is a woman of many, many words and articulates things beautifully. So when this is happening, it is literally like someone trying to keep her something,
Someone trying to keep me
trying to
trapped. You
trying to
can't
keep her
keep me
trapped.
trapped. You can't hold me down.
No, you can't keep that shit inside.
No.
She gonna let it out
It's gonna come out.
somehow. Even
So
if she can't speak words, she gonna articulate it in her body movements.
okay, so I would use it as to give the old boost, give it old
The,
boost.
the good old
So I
ego.
open the app and like see all the
Gotta love the
inboxes and
ego.
gotta love the ego. This is before I dealt with that bitch. Um so I'd see all of the, like, hey Adrian, hey A Love, hey boo, oh hey beautiful, hey gorgeous, whatever. Blase, blase. And then like not respond, delete. Oh hey, oh hey, right? But then this last time that I went in there, I completely changed up like all my shit, all my pictures.
Mhm.
I have that defund the media shirt. I'm
Fun.
wearing that in a picture, and then like some other things, kid pictures and like some other stuff and some yoga stuff and just like really what it is that I'm really into. But then my my profile said, like they ask you on Hinge, you can choose like these questions that are
Mhm.
supposed to prompt these prompts that are supposed to help you display more of your personality, more of your
Gotcha.
authentic personality. And one of the ones that I chose was, what is an unpopular opinion that you have? You know what mine was?
What?
That the world is ruled by pedophiles.
Oh, bravo. I love
Bravo.
that you put that on your dating
I did.
app
It was on my
site.
dating app. So
You're like, we're gonna use this as a filter.
yes.
We're gonna determine
Oh.
who's really real out here.
And I also, that's exactly what I was doing. 100%. It actually said the world is run by satanic pedophiles.
Sweet.
Right? It's awesome. And so I put that there and I was like, let's see what happens here. It's adventure time. And every time that I would go on there and like be disappointed with my choices or whatever, I go out with somebody and be like, oh my God, he's lame. He's cool for like a minute, but then he's lame. And then I delete it for like a month. And then I come back to, oh, sad. I'm not dating so and so anymore. I'm going back to my social media, my dating app. Meh, make myself feel better. And then I go back in there, and the last time me and Jesus was really talking, and I was having a real good day. And I said, Jesus, listen, I really want to go on Hinge. Can I go on Hinge and look at it? And he was like, listen, bitch, you got 20 minutes. You get in there and you look at what you got to look at. There might be something in there for you. Because I was feeling it like all up in my heart. I was like, I think there's something in there. And then you get out. And when I say get out, you get out. And when I say 20 minutes, that's all you got. So I opened the app, was like, nope, 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 yep, nope, 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 yep. And then I get to this one. It's like, hey, Adrian. It's like my whole name. How's it going? Trump 2020. American flags and American flags and hearts.
Yeah.
And I was like, I found him. There he is. And then he texted me like, and it sat in there for like 30 days, right? Because I'm deleting and whatever. And so I come back and I respond, and he sends, remember, I only had 20 minutes. And I'm responding to that, and I was like, yeah, for real, Trump 2020. How about them pedophiles or something like that? And then he sends me a message back like 3 minutes later. He's like, hey, I wasn't sure if you were ever going to come around. I was like, I did. And so we talked for a while. I did.
Look at me. I'm here.
Look at me. I'm here. And I said, I only have 20 minutes though. Yeah. So if we're going to do this, you got to take my number and we got to like run with it. He's like,
I love that you were like, look, Jesus told me.
He said 20 minutes. I'm not messing around no more. I'm not doing it.
Scene.
It's going to be a bad scene. Yeah. I've already been there. I have not listened in the past, and listen, it was not good for me. And so
it was hard to watch.
It was hard to watch. The not listening is bad. And so he said, well, I'm flying back from, he was at home in Ohio, and then he had stopped off in Charleston, like he had a layover, and then he's flying home. And so he wasn't even home. He was like, good, because I only have 20 minutes too before I have to get on this flight. Send me your number and then maybe we can talk. And I was like, yeah, okay, I gotta go. I'm deleting this. So if you don't text me, I don't know what to tell you. And he was like, all right, I will. And so I sent him my number, and the rest is history.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
I love too that it's, I find oftentimes when people, and I think I'm specifically thinking about like marriage or monogamous long-term relationship and or why was I going to say babies?
Oh,
I don't know why.
I have thoughts about babies, but
I think
we'll talk about that another time.
Definitely with long-term relationships, not sure what the babies thing popped up, maybe in anticipation of being with my littlest nephew next week. But I found with my own experience and also hearing stories with babies, this is why. Okay. Hearing stories about women who have tried to have a baby, and that's all they want to do is have a baby, and it consumes every thought of their life.
Yeah.
And then people who, and me personally, who was like, I just wanted to be in a solid relationship. I was trying all these different things, looking at these wrong people, all these things. And then finally, literally, when I laid down in the grass and like literally out my mouth was like, I give up. I give it to you. I give up. I'm not even looking anymore. Yeah. I'm done.
Yeah.
And then it happened. And so like with the baby thing was my sister-in-law. My sister-in-law was like, that's all she wanted in life. They went through all this monetary dumping into fertility and like all these things, procedures, all this stuff. And then they decided that they were just going to adopt. So they started to go through the process and started to research, and their mind was focused elsewhere, and she got pregnant.
Of course, every time.
It could have been the fertility thing, just timing or whatever. But I really think, and then you just talking about how you had, your dating site kind of nice and looking
Oh
sharp,
yeah,
right? It was looking
super
sharp and
fresh. Yeah.
smooth and like which is where how you are
Mm-hmm.
90% of the time. But then
Sure.
there's like 10% where we're just a hot mess, right?
Yeah, for
And
sure.
so to be able to go, you know what, I'm gonna revamp it and I'm gonna just put this with the t-shirt, my hair's in a bun, like
Mm-hmm.
not a lot of makeup,
Mm-hmm.
like doing my own thing. Here's a
Mm-hmm.
yoga pose, I
Mm-hmm.
got pants on,
Mm-hmm.
whatever the thing.
I am wearing pants,
And then it's
not
like,
shorts.
guess who shows up, right? When you were like, okay, I'm gonna do things different. I'm just forget it. Just you have it. I'm
Yep.
giving it up to you.
Yep.
And then there it goes.
That's exactly what
Yeah, I
happened.
like that.
Now it took shit's funny. Because we had a hiatus, we were on a break. And because it was also like when you meet somebody, like if we want to, we could, this is a whole other episode, but when we're talking about union and like divine union and all of those things, and I know beyond a shadow of a doubt who he is to me. Just some of the things are just so uncanny. And you're thinking about like false twins and all of this talk that's flying around. I experienced all of that, all of it. But when we met, it was like great, but we weren't ready for the catalyzation and the integration and the revelation that came with us coming together, like at all. And so we had to separate from like January, honestly, January until July. And we saw each other here and there. And every time we would try to like kind of bring it back together, it was like, what? Nope, two magnets coming together and then like push back again. Nope, it's not time. My mom stayed on me about it and she was like, I think you should just give the Big Easy another shot. I'm like, I'm not even trying to hear anything he has to say. Not one thing. But it was because I still had so much work to do and I was in denial of the amount of work that I had to do and I didn't even want to see it. I did not want to see it. I did not want to look at it. Meanwhile, all my guides are like, I wish this bitch would just look over here. Just look at it. Just look at it. Just look at it. Look at it. Oh, and then finally when I got brave enough to look at it, I was like, "Oh, that's why." So yes, authenticity, right? And then compassion when you actually have the courage to be authentic, because some of the things that you see, with yourself and some of the ways that you've behaved in an in disingenuous way in the past, it's not pretty.
No, and it's the key,
Mhm.
right?
Mhm.
To the connection is to be able to dig in and like recognize those things and accept them. Like we don't want to look at them
No.
sometimes.
Mm.
But when we do, we recognize it and you're like, "Oh, I can see that this behavior resulted in that outcome.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
see that now."
Oh god, there was so much taking responsibility.
Man, and then good job, like, coming back and being like, because I know it takes a lot to be able to come back around and be like, "I had to do some things for myself on myself. I had to work on myself for a minute, and then now I'm prepared."
And just to be like, guess what? A bitch was wrong.
Yeah, I wasn't gonna say that.
I was wrong. Like I was wrong. And it's so funny to me because I wanted to what happened between us was a situation like on the surface where I could very easily and did. It's like, well, he did this and he did that and he did this and he did that and he wasn't like this and this and this. But I too contributed to that. There are
Mhm.
some ways that I behaved in a cavalier manner and was
agreeing
all
with
up
me.
in myself and thinking that not just thinking of um, my own needs and honestly not seeing him as a complete person.
Mhm.
Not seeing him as a person who had a past, had experiences, had things that shaped him that had nothing to do with me, but had everything to do with like our symbiotic dysfunction, like our symbiotic balance within each other and how we trigger those things in each other. I wasn't taking any of that into consideration. I was all about like, well, this dude did this and this and this wrong and I'm right. And when they showed me, they were like, listen, you have things. Look at them. Like I said, look at it, look at it, look at it. And finally, when I looked at it, I was like, oh, okay. Thank goodness I don't subscribe to guilt or shame
Mhm.
because I would have felt all of that. so much shame about like my treatment of men in the past and taking them for granted and like value so funny, um valuing things in men that there's no substance to at all, and then not recognizing like what a real genuine like what it really looks like to stand all the way up in your manhood. It's not what it is that they're what they show you out here, and it takes a lot of I wasn't ready to see him. I wasn't ready to see him, and thank God. Whew. Thank God I put in the work. I'm very proud of myself for this. This is where I will say that, yeah, I know pride, all the things, but I am very thankful that I listened. And I have so much gratitude because now, when I tell you that it's a fairy tale,
Yeah.
it is a fairy
A
tale.
well-deserved,
I mean,
hard worked on
oh,
fairy
hard
tale. It was
work.
not just falling into your
No,
lap.
no, it
Yeah.
did not fall into my lap.
But I
But
guess
it
it
then it did.
unfolded.
Yeah.
It unfolded in the way that it should have,
For
though.
sure. He
Yeah.
says some things sometimes and I'm like, "Are you real?
Are you even real life?
Is that cuz I thought people told me that if I just let go and let it happen and let timing be what it is and be divine, it's going to happen and it's going to come to me in a way that better than I can ever imagine." Very interesting about that song, right? That was a song that was given to me by somebody who was very I thought that there wasn't going to be another time in my life that this person wasn't going to be in my life. Now, I have that song, right, to hang on to. It's a great song, better than I could ever imagine. It's Robert Glasper and uh, Nichelle Ndegeocello. Great song. Now I can honestly say, like, I thought that he was talking about my relationship with him, this person that gave me that song. But now I know that it's like my life actually without him, with somebody completely different.
Oh, that's fun.
It's
Like that
wild.
That's interesting.
Yeah.
Like how the whole perspective of it
Mhm.
shifted.
Totally shifted. Now I'm like, oh, this is what better than I could have ever imagined is like. Because, like I said, Easy will say stuff that's like, these are things that I only really saw on Hallmark, like um happily ever after type movies. Like, you're a real grown ass man saying these things to me right now. He wants to take parenting classes. Stop it.
That's awesome.
Stop it.
I
On his
love that.
own. Yeah. Like,
Yeah.
what he's amazing. Like, truly. But what comes how that happened, being honest with myself, being more and more growing in integrity to myself, staying connected, taking my hands off, not trying to control everything. He says that,
That part.
that part. What does he say? He says that I'm self-will run riot. Girl, you are self-will run riot. I'm like, what does that mean? He's like, you do whatever the fuck you want. You don't take it very much into consideration. I'm like, I know, but I'm learning. And so I'm learning and honing and figuring out how to surrender in a way that's beneficial, not only to me, but to what feels like everybody else around me.
Yeah.
Most importantly, in my relationship, but for my kids. Like, their relationship and the way that that is growing is like an actual answer to prayer. He's an answer to prayer in that way.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah, for sure.
A lot of the things you talked about with resonated with me when you talk about like your part and like not seeing that off the bat, like wanting to place the blame, like the ego won't accept that it's, parts that you play in it, in that relationship dynamic. And wanting to be like, if they just fix this, then I'll be happy.
Yeah.
Isn't that funny?
Can you just do it like this? Like,
That's
I
such
want
a
you to do
lie.
it. It's not the way that it works at all.
It works at all.
No.
Because the thing is, those things that you wish that they would change so you could be happy is probably exactly reflecting right back to the things that are inside of you that you actually need to fuck with so that you don't see that in other people anymore.
Exactly.
Yeah. So it's definitely taking your own responsibility, recognizing that, and having the courage to have that conversation.
Man, we have some tough ones too,
So
for sure.
valuable.
Yeah, so
Mhm.
valuable. Like, so we say we don't have bad nights. We have good nights. We don't have bad nights. We have nights where we have to dig in a little bit deeper,
Mhm.
and like find a space to be open to hear the other person and to really understand where they're coming from in regard to their experience with one or the other. And he's right. We have the runner chaser dynamic.
Mhm.
He wants to run. He doesn't want to be boxed in, right? Don't fucking box me in. Don't. That's like my nightmare. This is my
I'm like,
nightmare.
is he a Sagittarius?
Mhm.
He is?
Libra, Scorpio,
Because
Sagittarius.
that's definitely a thing
He's
with
like
me.
lives in that
deep.
little corner of the zodiac. He's
Gotcha.
Libra sun, Scorpio moon, Sagittarius
That's
rising.
fun.
Isn't it funny? Yeah. Yeah.
That is. That's what I
In
was like,
one.
that's really
It's a trip.
funny.
Listen,
man.
the things go more and more. Yeah.
That's
So
funny.
yeah, he doesn't
Man,
want to
that
be
box
boxed
shit's
in.
real deal.
It's real.
Like, it'll make you just want to run.
Yeah, run.
I literally said that yesterday. I was like,
Right.
I understand that when you say that, I
Yeah.
should feel warm and secure, but actually,
I
when you say
know!
that, I feel like I'm about to get the fuck out of here
I
right
wanna run away! That's what that's what he did the first time,
Oof,
right?
yeah.
Because I was like, wah, 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 wah,
Yeah.
wah. He's like, oh God, oh no.
He's
This
like,
is
that's
like
a lot.
this is a lot.
I can't manage this right now.
This is a lot. This is commitment. It's like all these things like at one time. So what I figured out was that no, he does. He loves me deeply, deeply, deeply. And instead of reacting to his wanting to like needing space or wanting to run or doing all of these things, like I started to pick up on cues before that would happen. Like I see it in his eyes, like, oh, he's getting like turned up.
He's trying to come up with a
like
plan,
turn up,
like an exit route.
I'm
He's
about
like,
to be
how,
out.
how do I get out of here?
I'm about to be out. Like, no. I'll take a deep breath and be like, do you need a second? You got to go over there and do that for a minute. And he's like, yeah, I think I need to go over there and do that. Whereas before I'd be like, no, we got to stay and you're going to listen to me. And I have these things to say. And this is hurting my feelings that you're leaving me. Why are you leaving me? Like, no, this man has said that he loves me. I'm just going to trust that. I'm going to be real patient. I'm going to give him some time and some space. Most of the time, that time and space is about 5 minutes around the corner in the car, just sitting for a second. Hey, do you feel like this is the best way to handle this right now? And he's like, I think I need just a minute. I'm just around the corner. I'm coming back. Okay, sounds good.
That's great.
Right? Whereas before it might be like, won't talk to him for 2 days because I'm like, where are you at? What's happening? What do you need? What did I do wrong? Blah, blah, blah. It didn't have shit to do with me. For the most part, he'll come back and say, this was causing me stress. I was starting to feel a little bit trapped by this. I don't understand why this person acts this way. I don't know where this is coming from. Like, I'm not on that list at all. He's like, no, didn't have really anything to do with you. I'm like, oh, just that recognition that most of what people are mirroring back to you is their own insecurities, their own things, their own past trauma, their own trauma response. Just understanding that that is the truth and letting people deal with their own stuff, whatever you bring up in them, and not taking it on as your own changed everything.
Man, that is a huge game changer. Like patience, space, and time. Because I can relate to that also, that needing to like get it out. I need to solve it now. We need to work through this in this moment. There's no break from this until we figure it out. Right.
Yeah.
And that's just like not helpful at all.
Not at all.
And in my experience with this particular relationship is that like situations where I'd be like, I need to be heard, I need to be heard, I need to be heard, I need to be heard. Well, he wasn't in a place to even receive what I was saying.
Right.
And now fast forward, like he's admittedly been like, I know I'm asking you to repeat yourself. However, I didn't hear you when you said it all the other times.
Yeah.
Which is its own
thing.
issue.
Sure.
Because now I'm like, well, I mean, I fucking said it.
Yeah. Right. And that right there, like that, catching that, catch that thing right there, that thought, that comment, those are the things that I would find myself like, there was a night that things got like, it wasn't like super intense, but there was a lot of feelings happening. And he was like, I need to go. And so he gets in the car and he goes, and I'm sitting like on the sidewalk, like, oh my God. Ugh, he's gonna do it again. I'm so sad. My heart is broken. I gotta tell all these people all of these things, and it's not true. And he's not who he said he was. And like my brain is just like whoa, 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 whoa. And I go inside and I'm like, okay, but wait. He's trustworthy. He's true. He is an honorable man. You know and believe those things about him. So if you love him the way that you say you do, how are you going to react in this situation, knowing what you know about how he feels about you? And so I'll be like, I took a breath. And that's when I texted him. It was like, do you feel like this is how we really want to handle this? As opposed to, I can't believe you left. And you know, I have abandonment issues and all of these things, right? And I'm like, is this really how you want to handle this? And he texts back, no. I said, what do you feel like would be the best way for us to kind of work this out right now? I think I should come back. Can I come back? Like, yeah. Do you want to talk? Yes, I do. Let's talk about it. Okay. Boom. Done. Whereas before it might be like, yeah, I can't believe you did this again. You're doing this again. I can't trust you for anything. And these are just emotions that are flying off the top of my head. Whereas this time in this relationship, I remember how important our connection is to me. I remember how pride and holding on to pride, like as a woman, means nothing. It's ridiculous. Like he can't treat me that way, and he can't, all these things. Nope, not doing that. This is about two people who really care about each other deeply and are reacting to something because they do care about each other deeply. So let's move past that, push that stop button, hit the stop sign, and really think about how you would respond to somebody that you say that you love.
Yeah, exactly. That's why that thought comes up. Like, I fucking said it.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, oh, well, don't say that, Elizabeth.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'm like, all right, let's sit with this and figure out what the question actually was, and then just like answer it and then run it through the gates first, though.
Yeah.
Like, is it kind? Is it true? Is it necessary?
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right, let's see.
Yes, all those things.
Yeah, I know I said it a fucking 1,000 times.
Yeah.
And you didn't hear me.
Yeah.
That's why we're where we are.
Right.
However, I do care a lot about your heart.
I do care a lot about your heart.
I'll try to put it out here another way.
Let me do it again.
I'll say it now.
I think
but write it fucking down.
Just remember, get a tattoo. Where are them tattoos at? It's really wild how it's changed everything. And every time I'm vulnerable in that way and don't rely on my anger or my self-defense, mechanisms that I go through, or vindictive things that I might do, manipulation tactics that I might use. These are all subconscious things, right? These are all things that I had been programmed to like protect my little heart, right? But the more that I trust, right? What is one of your favorite break method sayings? Every layer of vulnerability reveals a new layer of love. And that is probably my favorite quote that she has kind of penned, because it's so true. The more vulnerable I am with him, the more it allows him to be vulnerable with me. And there are parts of him that I'm seeing that I thought, like I'm thinking, like my intuition is telling me that this man is like this. And the more that I allow myself to be vulnerable, the more of him I'm seeing that is
Mhm.
showing and proving that he really is that way.
Yeah.
And that is where the magic is.
It's awesome.
Because he feels like, but somebody's got to like open it up and like step out there and be like, okay, this could hurt like a motherfucker, but I'm going to be honest and authentic. And that's the only way that you're going to find a union or a partner or a relationship or a marriage that works. Having somebody take pictures of you that are staged to present you to your future partner is probably not going to get it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I get that.
I think I feel like probably why is this coming up? I feel like and we know we're going to have the magician on next week. Thank God. He's
That'll be
awesome.
fun. Yeah.
So fun. I feel this way because I feel like the way that we are going to ultimately save the world is like union within ourselves.
Mhm.
And union within ourselves brings union partnerships. And there are things that men have that women do not have, and vice versa. And ways that we are supposed to, we are designed to work together in
Mhm.
order to bring about change, present more love, be able to offer protection and guidance for each other, all of these things, right? But the relationship that starts within is the most important one, period.
Fully.
Yeah.
And that's why when I have those moments and that anger comes up, I recognize that's my little red flag for myself.
Yeah.
I'm like, "Oh, you're out of balance.
When
You're
when you feel
angry?
angry,
Like, you're out of balance. What have you eaten, drank today? What
yeah,
conversations have you had?
check
What have you been
your
listening to? Did you
yeah.
sleep?" Like, I go through the whole
So what is your
checklist.
checklist?
So, first, it's water.
Okay.
Have you had water?
Yeah.
I should say first it's a snack.
Okay.
Actually, have you eaten? Have you had water?
Mhm.
Are you well rested?
Mhm.
What conversations have you had? That's a
Mhm.
big one for me because sometimes when I'm kind of on the brink of like an energetic t fatigue,
Yeah.
and then my sister will call and I'll talk to her, and it's
Yeah.
like the not a good idea, and it's not because it's not necessarily she just has a lot going on right now that I wanna support her with, so they're very deep, heavy, long
Sure,
conversations, so
involved
I have
and
to ask that. But
yeah.
my main 3 is gonna be hydration, food, and rest because those are the 3 that if I'm off there, it'll trickle down to all the other things.
I feel like
Um
those are 3 pretty standard, like, if even if you don't have any kind of, like, further advanced, like, self-mastery techniques,
Mhm.
you can definitely always go to water, nutrition, and sleep, like your needs,
Mhm,
right?
mhm.
Your hierarchy of needs, like,
Yeah.
check those first, and then from there, you can kinda get a little bit more intricate,
Yeah,
like
because then it's more individual. It's like,
yeah.
have I been outside? Did I put my
Mhm.
feet in the grass? Have I moved
Mhm.
my body
Have I
today?
listened to music? What
Music
kind of
that
music
I
have I
love.
listened to?
Yeah.
Have I danced? When was the last time I
Did I
danced?
burn something? Like, I
Yeah.
don't that sounds funny, right? But,
Mhm.
like, smoke and fire is very important to me. So, like, incense and
Oh, yeah, it is.
candles and incense, I gotta have
Smoke.
smoke and fire, like, I really, really do, and so
Yeah.
I wake up in the morning sometime, I light a candle, burn my little Palo Santo,
Yeah.
smudge whatever the room, I'm like,
Like
"Get these
incense.
fucking sleep demons out of here!" Like, open the window, I'm like,
That
"Go!"
makes you can't, demon.
Crack me up. Like, you're killing it with the reels, killing
Thank
it
you.
with the
It's
reels.
fun. It's so fun to me.
But so me learning that when I anger the red flag, I'm like, "I'm not balanced." What does that mean? I go through the checklist. On a more broad way, when we're talking about the feminine, masculine,
On
inside,
Broadway.
inside is that I definitely, um, am working on balancing the feminine and masculine within me because
Sure.
I had been heavily masculine for many, many years. I got to a point where I felt like I needed to pick up all the things.
I think that's definitely a female trait. I
We
think that
do
that's what
that.
we're coming out of right now because we
Yeah.
were told, "Hey, I am woman, hear me
Or
roar,
we were told that
and
we weren't
numbers too big to
enough
ignore."
first,
Right.
and then we were like, wait a second. That's a lie. Why y'all suppressing me? And then we just kind of like fucking swung the pendulum. And then we
Right,
were
the other
like,
direction.
who run the world?
Yep,
Right.
yep.
But we want y'all too.
Yeah, exactly.
So yeah, and then the growth that comes from having that understanding, balancing myself out internally with that, being able to then articulate heavy conversations in a way that doesn't like get run with emotion,
Mm.
taking the space and time that's necessary. Man, we really can each other grow
Yep.
tremendously. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's not like, for me, it's not always like, I'm like, well, this is not like what the textbook version
Right.
of this scenario was going to look like in my
Right.
brain. However, even though it's kind of like a crazy mess right now, it's really wonderful.
Yeah.
Like what's happening with him, what's happening with me, like on
Mhm.
personal growth levels,
Mhm.
and how we've both been the catalyst for each other to do
Oh,
that.
it matters so
So
much. I would love to
definitely
see
like,
his chart against your chart.
oh yeah, I'll have to show you. I'm sure
Mhm.
it's somewhere.
Mhm.
I'll find it. Speaking of charts, you got some cards today, or
Yeah, you
what
want to
you
do that
got? I
before we
do.
get
I
out
like that.
before we
I
bounce,
like
biggity
that.
bounce,
Oh, here
biggity
they are
bounce, biggity
here.
bounce.
Exciting. Closer.
Also, shout to the Woo. If anybody else is watching,
Woo, tang, woo, tang.
I mean, we can't say half of their lyrics right now. That's right. So, um, I've been watching and keeping up with, or I just started watching Hulu. Who knew? Hulu. That should be their tagline. Hulu. Who
Who
knew?
knew?
You're welcome. Go ahead and take that. Because they have a lot of really
She'll
good
take
shows. I
10%.
will take 10%, and hopefully more than that. But well, probably even a fraction would do me real good. They have some really, really solid shows right now. One of
Mm.
which is, and I'm I am gradually collecting pieces of myself back to myself. That's another thing, how I know that I am in a really good space right now. When Trent passed away, it felt like everything, all my pieces were scattered. I didn't
Mm.
know this now, but now having gained the perspective, I can see what happened. It felt like all of my pieces were scattered to the wind, like poof. They were just out there. And so the past 4.5 years, going on 5 years, has been like me literally calling all my pieces back to me. I can write again. I remember that being a thing that, like, when my ability to write in a way that was in my voice went away, I didn't know what was going to happen. I couldn't write for a while, because when he was passing away, I was keeping the blog, and the blog was like so therapeutic, and like even now looking back on that, it was so raw and honest and like good. I'm going to turn that into something at some point. Um, and so that creative piece, as a way to manage the trauma, went away.
I felt very heavy-hearted during that time
Yeah.
because I just knew that that was a huge shift, that
Yeah.
your words were gone,
Yeah.
and I knew that that was gonna be temporary,
Yeah.
but I just remember
Oh, they
just
went
wanting to hold
away.
you through that because I was
Man.
like, "Man, my heart's real heavy about that part."
Man, went away. The words went away. I couldn't read. I didn't have like the attention span to be able to read. And I'm an English major. So that was like everything. Being able to read and write was everything. The pets, I wasn't trying to love on any animals, and that was something that I grew up with. Cooking, all of these things. Well, I'm discovering now that like all of these things are coming back to me. The music, the dance, it's coming back to me, and it's like coming back tenfold. So when I talk about like, you'll reap a harvest if you do not give up, I am in my harvest season, like
Mhm.
no doubt. All these things are coming back, and it is just a wonderful, and I'm also noticing that now I have the awareness and the objective perspective to be able to say, like, you know what? I don't want that piece back. No, that's not really actually me. I don't want that piece back, but I will take this one. I do want to dance all the time. I do want to laugh and sing and recite commercials and act and do all of these things that I used to do when I was in a place of more joy, um, previously. And now it's like, this dude thinks I'm the funniest person literally to walk the face of the earth. And it is giving me so much juice to be the most obnoxious human being to walk the face of the earth. Because I know if my man, like, I may lose a lot. I've been making y'all bitches giggle for a minute. But if outside of the three of you and my mama, I can make my mom laugh like nobody. Outside of the four of you, if you like walked away, if everybody else walked away, I'd still be good. right? And so it's given me this freedom and this space to really, really dive into this creativity that I have been longing for in a lot of ways.
Man, that's a wonderful thing is that, and I'm starting to get I'm there too when it
Mhm.
comes to, like, God, I don't want y'all to go anywhere. I really don't, like, ever. Can we just be really
Yeah.
decrepit and
Yeah.
old
Yeah.
together?
For sure. It's fine.
With that being said, as life does,
It does.
change all the time.
Yeah.
I know that I would definitely I'm so close to being confident 100% that I would be super solid, like
Right. If
and
that.
that's what's so important for all of us.
Mhm.
Like, that's what I think is not truly understood by the masses,
Mm.
is that you have to love yourself before you can give to other people.
100.
And you have to dig in. You
Mhm.
have to peel the layers away. Like, it's so
Mhm.
necessary for our humankind. Like, it is how we actually can change the whole world.
And how we
Like, I
best serve
truly
each
believe
other.
this isn't like some utopian, like,
Right.
bullshit. It's like
Right.
actually, factually, and I dare you, let's try it.
Just
Like, I
see.
would like to put us to the fucking test, which is that if we actually dig in, do the work, peel the shit out,
Yeah.
dump out the shit that's not yours, get real with who you are, love who you are, go through the stuff that you don't like, the shadow work, like sit with it, fucking freak out, get in the fetal position, vomit and you have to, but like see it,
And
go through it,
then don't go back to it.
don't leave it. You're like,
Put
I
it
literally told
down.
myself,
Whew.
we don't live here anymore,
We don't
Elizabeth.
live here
We
anymore.
don't think like that anymore, Elizabeth. We don't move like that anymore,
Right.
Elizabeth.
I think that's probably I yeah, no, not anymore. That's probably one of the things that is most difficult about being somebody who has a certain amount of experience with this, right? Both in learning, in practice, right? And things that
Yeah.
I've learned over the years in my own healing and trauma healing, and what I've learned through yoga and break method and just all of the things, right? Is that you watch other people, and we have people who are in our own ground crew who are they make progress, and then they go back into that same pattern again, and I see it over and over again. I'm like, one of these times you're not going to go back to that same place when you have you have achieved a certain something. It usually has to, I mean, it's the cycle of self-sabotage, right? You achieve something, or there's a certain amount of happiness, and you're like,
Like
bitch,
unconsciously, you're
ruin
like, ruin it. You
it.
don't deserve this.
You don't deserve it. So I'm going to go back here with these same people doing these same things, treating myself in this way, and then wonder why I can't get over this same hump. You acknowledge all the things, you're doing the work, but you are consciously, subconsciously, and in some ways
Consciously,
consciously
yeah.
choosing to go back to the same cycle again.
Is that seems
You got to be brave enough to push past and make a different choice in the moment instead of cussing his ass out. Honey, how can we best handle this situation? Boom. Change everything.
Man, a question that you had asked me a few years ago popped into my head the other
Mm.
day, and it was very simple. How long are you gonna keep doing this to yourself, Elizabeth? Like, your voice came into my head the other day, and I was like, "How long am I going to" apparently years is the answer to that question.
I know exactly how long.
Okay?
Years and years and years.
But I will tell you
Yeah.
that I'm not doing that anymore.
Nope, not doing it
I'm
anymore.
moving different.
And every time that you do it different, what happens?
It makes it like it when I do it different, I get a different result that is much more desirable, and then it not validates, but it proves to me and my brain pattern that, "Look, if you do it different, it could be better." Right? Instead of that default to, "Oh, but it's so comfortable being in my dark little
I know what to
decrepit
expect.
cave.
Right.
It's so comfortable there. I
Right.
know every
I
corner
won't
of
be
that
let
cave.
down over here
I
in
know
this
how the
cave.
light
I'm already
shines in
down
that
here.
cave.
Yeah.
I know all the crevices.
Yeah.
I know all the puddles. I know every piece of that cave."
Mhm.
So it's like easy to go back to that, right?
Easy.
It is challenging. It is challenging to keep yourself going opposite of
Yep.
what you would typically do.
Mhm.
And then, but just you do it a little while,
Mhm.
and then it becomes more like a new habit. Like
Mhm.
I've created a new habit. Like
Mhm.
if I just push myself to do this for 6 weeks, it's going to become natural.
Mhm.
And it
Mhm.
does.
And
And
it
then it's like a
does.
reminder of like, we actually can choose
Mhm.
our own adventure. Like
That's right.
we actually have the choice every second of every single day
We
to
can choose
decide
our own
how we want to feel,
adventure.
where we want to look,
You
what we
can
want to
look
focus.
how you want to look.
It's true.
You
can
can
look
feel
fly.
how you want to feel. It's all good. So
love it.
I'm definitely sending vibes to some people who I have on my mind in that particular instance.
Mhm,
Like
mhm.
what you just said, I think it's really valuable and should be shared. Listen, I'm going to look into this camera.
Oh, serious.
I'm sending this to one particular female individual who I love, who I watch cycle through these things. They probably don't even think that I'm talking about them. But if you hear my voice, you know who you are. I love you very much. Recognize it. You're better than these things. Okay, that's enough. Are
I
you
think I
ready?
know who you're talking to, so
Do
I just
you?
want to say hi. I miss you.
We'll say
I
off
could be
air.
wrong.
We'll
Yeah.
say off air who it
I'll
is.
ask you
And
after.
I think this one probably knows. I think she has a pretty good idea too. And you do too.
Yeah.
I want to put her in my pocket.
Yeah.
If I could put her in my pocket, I would and just carry her around, but I'm not. She's not my child. She makes her own choices.
She a grown woman.
She a grown woman.
So,
She's not
you
my
know,
child.
It would be awkward.
It would be awkward to say the least. I feel like actually I'm gonna do these guys right quick. This is a
Cool. I
good
love how
one.
worn this box is, by the
Man,
way. It's
It's
awesome.
been through some things.
It's nice. Oh, yeah, those are fun. I
Yeah,
just want
these
to put it
guys
in my
are
pocket,
good.
she said.
Yeah, put you in my pocket and carry you around. Say no. Slap that shit out of it. Don't do that.
But you just got to shine the light on it and let her slap it out.
Exactly. And that's why I don't be saying nothing but nothing.
I appreciate that too. It's so helpful.
Mhm.
It's also helped me in learning like how effective it is with me. Ooh. That space and time joint,
Right.
is sometimes I just say the things and then like leave it.
I'm gonna do one more.
Because then we have to process it and kind of come up with it on our own anyway for it to integrate well where it sticks.
Yeah.
So like somebody can tell me what to do all day and it's like really solid advice. Like I should do that.
Mhm.
But until I within myself decide that like that's the move to make,
That's it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does. It doesn't matter at all.
Yeah.
No,
So
somebody can
it's
tell
like-
you all
it's
day.
hard
That's why I
work.
don't. I'm
It's hard.
just
It
like,
is easier to just be fucked up.
I'm just gonna
I'll
be
be
my own
honest.
for real.
There's been
in
days where
some
I'm like,
ways,
can I just go back to being really fun?
Can I just be really sad? But I
But I
can't. Like
don't.
it doesn't feel.
Mm-mm.
That doesn't feel. That ain't my shit no more.
Nah, it doesn't feel
Mm-mm.
good.
Mm-mm.
It's not fulfilling.
No.
And I'll tell you, I don't know how many times like I get lately and I feel like I just want to do it more and more. And what I mean by do it more and more is like hug people and squeeze them and tell them how much I love them.
Right.
It's
Right.
because I get these responses and they're just like, you just make me feel so much better. Just
Yeah.
being around.
Just being around.
like,
Oh,
"Aw."
what's that light? What is that? It is safe and beautiful to express my sensuality.
It really is.
Y'all need to listen. Venus is
that.
doing some things right now. Did you want to do that? I know you like to do
I
that.
do like to.
Okay. Venus is doing some things right now. And while it's like the planet of love, Venus is like the planet of real love, like real genuine, deep love, deep and more sensuality, right? That's not just sexuality. It's like the sensations that go along with intimacy, mostly with yourself. And I love this her little hand
Me
signal.
too.
It's
It's a great
quite nice.
position.
Yeah. So
I
some
saw
of you might be
Venus
feeling a little bit.
2
Did
nights
you?
ago.
It's beautiful.
That little planet up there.
Everybody's talking about these retrograde. Mercury is in retrograde. We came out of it like last week or something, but nobody. There's 6 other planets retrograde.
I was gonna say, wasn't like the whole fucking solar
Everything
system
was like,
and like the sun too was like, fuck it, I'm out.
And then we got some big solar flare yesterday that was like we're
Oh.
supposed to hit super early this morning. That's supposed to hit in the next 24 hours. So don't be surprised if everything that you see now is different tomorrow. Yep.
Man, that may contribute to some of my
Oh,
thought patterns this morning.
look at what we're talking about. There is medicine in
Oh,
my shadow.
for real,
So
though.
it's not just like that's where the healing is. You have to look at these dark parts of yourself
You've
in
got
order to acknowledge what it is that needs the work. You got to look at it.
Man, they're deep in there too.
Yeah, you can't just pile things on top of it.
That's beautiful. That
It's
owl.
so pretty on the side of her little head. And with focus and intention, I can shape energy in any direction. It's so interesting how they're all just in keeping with where we're at and the discussions that we're having. I always
Yeah.
wonder, not always, but because we just go off the top and it is just intuitively led, like the whole show, like the way that we live our lives, more or less. Um, it's always interesting to me, the topics that come up and the things that we talk about, but then the confirmation is right here that we're right spot on. And we're probably also picking up on a lot of what everybody else is like. We know that what we experience, at least in my own personal walk, life path journey, what I experience is I'm experiencing it probably about a week to 10 days ahead of what everybody else is experiencing. So this part about like really, really opening up to express like these creative, because sensuality ultimately it's the feeling part, it's the creation part of things. Opening up to that and embracing your shadow and having even bringing these two things together. It's interesting that the owl and the rose kind of look a little bit similar like in their shape. Bringing those two things together is really where the juice is at.
Man, I love the juice.
Man, the juice is great. And then also, with focus and intention, I can shape energy in any direction. I think I just said that when we were talking about how I'm understanding like if I shift my energy into something like as a generator, that's when that's it picks up. Now being able to, for me, you were talking about how you've got your three things that you need to sit with in order to be able to um stay above,
Mhm.
right? To ride things on a vibe that's real high.
Yeah.
In order for me to do that, I have to stay sovereign in my energy and make sure that I maintain myself the way that I know that I need to maintain myself. That's
Right.
dancing, laughing. I got to keep the giggles high. I got to say the things that are actually on my mind instead of I mean, I can temper, but I and should temper.
Temper, but not filter too
No, no.
much.
I gotta say it. I gotta say it. I gotta say it. That's one of the things that I'm here for is to say it in the way that the way that I'm supposed to say it with focus and
I feel like
intention.
you've been practicing that a lot with our relationship,
Sure.
and it's been great.
Oh, nice.
Yeah.
That's great.
It's
I'm
been
glad.
great because I
Yeah,
hear you.
that's
And then I
good.
just like, you need to offload it, and then we just like let it simmer. And then I
Yeah.
talk to you again another time.
Yeah. Gotta
It's
let it.
great.
Yeah. Gotta let that thing out.
It's
Just say it.
awesome.
Okay, we're gonna go one
Oh, good. Yeah, you know I
animal
love that
card.
animal deck.
Yeah. These guys were on top.
I do like this animal deck.
Yeah. So this first one was the moon deck, the moon oracle deck, I think. And then the second one is the spirit animal deck.
That's the Moon Oracle deck.
Oh,
Oh, hi.
I think this guy
Oink,
for
oink.
sure. I'm gonna put these back. Oh, that's very true. So first we have life is speeding up. It's antelope spirit.
Talk about it speeding up.
I mean, it's changing
mean,
every single day. I
Every
wouldn't be
single day.
surprised if, like, as we've moved in the Scorpio season, so we know that that's a whole other flex that we're moving into. Thank God we can help y'all now, for real, for real.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Man, this is like a sacred
scarab beetle.
creature.
Yeah, super.
I recently, oh gosh, Elizabeth, careful. Saw one.
Oh, really?
Yeah, like I was pet sitting, and I was pet sitting out in the backyard with this puppy, and like the puppy runs over and like sniffs at the ground real quick and then moves on. And I was like, "What is that?" And I walked over and I looked down and I was like, "That is a crazy looking beetle." And I took like a video of it, and I was like, "What kind of beetle is that?" Because that's like not typical. And looked it up. It was totally a scarab beetle, and the symbolism behind them are pretty awesome.
Yeah.
too, so.
So the phrase on that is magic works through you. We're talking about that. We still creativity. That is your connection. That is how with your combined with your individuality, how God source manifests itself through you is through your creativity, and how what you choose to create is God manifests through you.
Yeah.
So remembering that is key. Yeah, I know it. And then starfish spirit,
Man, God
open
people
to
have
infinite
fun.
possibilities. So that could be anything. I think, like I said, after Sunday, once we get through Sam Hain, we didn't even talk about like the origins of Halloween and all the things that we might feel philosophically about it. But moving into next week, like Scorpio season super proper, it's going to be a whole other flex. Things are going to look a whole lot different, and things are speeding up. I know things are speeding up in my own life. I'm having conversations about things that I could not have imagined talking about 2 months ago.
Right.
2 months ago,
2
completely
months ago.
different.
Girl, you're right.
Yep. So
Um,
it's happening. All these things are happening. Just remain open to them happening, and don't block your blessings. Jesus.
For real though.
Don't do that. You deserve this. A lot of you do.
Hey,
Some
don't
of y'all
block your
don't.
blessings too, because also some of y'all don't. Because also remember that this is God experiencing human life. So how would we deny God of the pleasures that God wants?
An authentic experience, not a fake ass one.
Be kind
Yeah. Do
and
that.
also do all the things.
Oh, and another thing, karma is real.
just in case y'all weren't sure.
I've seen it with my own eyes.
She's seen
I'm
it.
experiencing it in my life in a way that it's just, whether it's in this life or the next, you are accountable for the choices that you make and the way that you treat people.
Dope.
It's true.
I know I'm working on it.
Girl, me too. Nothing to be afraid of, but this is a system of checks and balances. And in order to keep the universe in balance, I mean, they's got to check your ass.
I know it. And I'm not trying to do this again either. I got to get it right.
No, bye. We're out of here. And on that note, we're also out of here.
I guess we are
Oh,
out.
we did it. We came back. We went over 20 minutes, but it's fine. I have a big weekend. I know that you're on the fence about your weekend. You're trying to figure things out.
I am.
I wish you all the best, Shay. I hope that you get lots of rest and enjoy your weekend as well. Everybody out there, whatever y'all are up to, whatever you might get into, blessings on blessings on blessings.
And
Keep the lessons on lessons on lessons to a minimum, maybe.
This is existence as it's intended.
Get in here. Yeah, it's right there. Push your button. Push your button. No, just push your button. Push your button. Oh, push your another button.
Bye, guys.